All right, Brandon Baylor here checking in this hour of CBS Sports HQ, along with Kyle Porter and Michael Breed. The fellas joining us here as we get into that final round here. Michael, I'll start with you. Looking at those feature groups to see how things might stack up, ready to roll here. Who's got your attention heading into this final round?
Well, I mean, if Scottie Scheffler doesn't have your attention, then you're just not paying attention for a variety of reasons. One, he got out to a big lead, had it to 11 under par, had a 6-shot lead at one point yesterday. But that finish, and specifically that second 9, gave you a little bit of pause. He was fortunate to find that ball, fortunate to get the relief that he got and escape with a bogey at 18. But if that is an indication of what's to come on this Sunday, and you start to look at the hole locations and the weather as it is, it will open up your mind to the idea that there are some low scores out there, and Scottie Scheffler is going to have to play very good, despite the fact that he's got a 3-shot lead over one and a 5-shot lead over another. Scottie Scheffler is going to have to keep his wits about him on this Sunday if he's going to be able to put on that green jacket at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think you've got some really interesting feature groups here and pairings throughout the day. You know, early on, we've got the fiery group of Tyrrell Hatton and Billy Horschel. You've got Rory and Collin Morikawa. You've got Tiger Woods and Jon Rahm. There's some really kind of elite pairings, and I think, you know, we were just talking off air, guys, about how the scoring conditions today, I think, are going to be the best they are all week. And we've kind of had, you know, I've been out here walking around all week. It's been a roarless Masters. There's been a little bit of life taken out of the event because of what the weather conditions have been, because the wind has been up, because it's been cold. There just haven't been those true scoring conditions like we've come to find synonymous with Augusta National and with the Masters. So I hope we get somebody early on, whether it's Rory, whether it's Morikawa, whether it's Tommy Fleetwood, that maybe goes out in 31, 32. And I don't know if that truly means they get into the event, but what it does mean is that there's foreshadowing for those later pairings that we could get some fireworks, which I think everybody wants to see on this Sunday at the Masters.
It's never good if it's too quiet there at Augusta National, as you mentioned. Hopefully it picks up here. But Michael, Kyle kind of just touched on it there. Your expectations, though, when it comes to scoring here in this final round, what are you expecting to see here?
Well, I've just looked at the whole location sheet. I think there are some very, very favorable hole locations, and I particularly think that the second 9 is going to offer a lot of birdies. If you look at where these holes are located, particularly from 13 through 18, almost with the absence of 17, every one of those hole locations is accessible and offers a ton of birdies and eagles. You think about the hole location at 15, which is in the Nicklaus position. It's sort of in the middle back portion of that green. That's a very, very generous hole location. And with the weather, as Kyle had talked of, it's going to lay down a little bit. It's still coming out of the west, but it's going to lay down a little bit. It's a little bit warmer. The sun is out. I think you're going to see some eagle opportunities. And I do think that there will be a low score out there. The question is, how far back can somebody come from it? I don't think that the 1-unders have a chance. I think that it's basically a 3, maybe 4-person race here. I just think that if you're at 1 or 2 under and you shoot a low score, I just don't think that that's going to be enough.
You mentioned there, of course, the lead there. 1-unders. How about a 3-under Scottie Scheffler here, Kyle? If you look at the last 3 Masters, including this year, 2 of those guys, Dustin Johnson, Hideki Matsuyama, they went on to win. They had 4 or 3 under. What does a win here for Scottie Scheffler mean for a guy that's been winning the past, 3 of the last 5 starts? What does it mean for the world number 1 here?
Well, I think it's validation of that number 1 ranking. You know, one of my storylines coming into the week was, Scottie Scheffler is playing like the number 1 player in the world, but is he a true number 1, or did he just catch a heater at the right time at the right tournaments? And what I mean by true number 1 is a period of sustainability. Can he be the number 1 player in the world for half a year, for 2 years, something like that? And if you win the Masters as the number 1 player in the world in your first start as the number 1 player in the world, I think that's a great indication that you're a true number 1 guy. Like, you are the best player in the world, not just because you caught a heater at the right time, but because you have that talent in you. We've only seen 25 guys rise to number 1 in the world. Famously, Phil Mickelson never got there. So to me, it's a little bit of like answering the question, is Scheffler a true number 1? If he goes out and wins the Masters today, then I believe that question is put to bed forever.
You know, it's interesting, Kyle, what you say, because you think about players at young ages who have gone on to have success on the PGA Tour early on, and then win a Masters or win a major championship. And specifically, you're talking about Jordan Spieth, Colin Morikawa. Well, Scottie Scheffler is right in that same frame. And with what he has done really since the Ryder Cup, and I think the Ryder Cup has had a big to do with what has taken place with Scottie going forward here. He gained that confidence. He earned that right to be in the room with those players. And then as he has sort of taken that and continued to ride that confidence, all of a sudden he believes that what he's doing now is legit. I don't know that number one in the world. I think it's a big thing, but I don't think it's as big as all the things that you do to get to that spot. Win major championships, win PGA Tour events, and do it in a period of time where you could build a Hall of Fame career. That's exactly what Jordan Spieth has done, and it may be exactly what we're seeing out of Scottie Scheffler. 4 wins in his last 6 events. If he comes away with this Masters victory, is certainly the start of a potential Hall of Fame career.
We'll definitely have to hold on to that lead as he sits at the top of that leaderboard heading into that final round. Of course, he kind of flew under the radar coming into the week because of who? The big cat, of course, making a return. Kyle, when you look at it, how do we evaluate Tiger's first 3 rounds here in Augusta National?
Well, you know, I think it's been a little bit of what we expected, where the adrenaline carries him through the first 2 days and then the body just starts breaking down on the weekend. That's kind of what we've been talking about all week, Brandon, is that, you know, can the leg hold up? Can the back hold up? And I think the question, or the answer that we're getting is no, is probably not. So I think in light of that, you know, and this, I'm glad this was talked about on Thursday, because I think it's true that just teeing it up this week is a win for him. And Tiger admitted that on Thursday. I thought that was a pretty insightful and interesting moment where he was asked, hey, is being here a win for you? And he said, yeah, it is, because that's not what we would have gotten from a, you know, 36-year-old Tiger, or especially a 26-year-old Tiger. He was there to win the golf tournament, and he kind of admitted that just being here this week was a win, and that to me is true because of what he's been through, because of how far he's kind of fought back just to play in this golf tournament. So I think it'll be a celebratory Sunday. You know, I think he'll get standing ovations at every green, at every tee box, and then a huge one on 18 as he finishes up about 3 p.m. Eastern on Sunday afternoon, and that'll be the end of, to me, again, he's not going to top 10, he's not going to win the golf tournament, but to me, one of the more remarkable weeks of his extraordinary career.
I would agree with Kyle. I think the win was getting here. I think the other win was making the cut. I think the challenge that Tiger had all week, we talked about the walking of the golf course and how hard that would be, and it was. But the fact of the matter is that the challenge of walking the golf course leads to fatigue. And you think about what these players do in order to prepare themselves for a regular event on the PGA Tour, much less a Masters, and the training that takes place is ridiculous. If you could see these training regimens that these players put themselves through, now then you would understand exactly what it takes to be physically fit enough to be able to play. And what we've seen with Tiger is a guy who, out of sheer will and determination, got to this point and made the cut. And I think yesterday what we witnessed was an individual that was just so physically fatigued and mentally fatigued that he putted the way he putted. And I think that what Kyle said is spot on. I think you're going to see a lot of people, much the way that you saw yesterday. And when Tiger came up the 18th, every single player around that green stood on their feet. I mean, every single patron that was around that green stood on their feet and applauded not just what Tiger had done yesterday or the 2 days prior, but also to what he had done in his career and what he's meant to Augusta National since that very first win back in 1997. I think you'll see the exact same thing today. I think you'll see Tiger make some birdies and give the patrons exactly what they're looking for, which is a little bit of, boy, I was there when Tiger made birdie at 15 on Sunday. And I think that he's going to give us that. And I think it will go down as one of the more remarkable things that Tiger Woods has done in his career, playing in this 86th Masters.
We'll see that, of course, later this morning here, where he tees off at 10:50 there for that final round at Augusta National. Kyle Porter and Michael Bree, appreciate your time breaking that down. Before we get to that final round, hey, don't forget, you can catch the First Cut podcast as well. Kyle Porter always giving us everything with all the experts breaking it down there. The latest, Scheffler's green jacket to lose. Of course, looking at the 2022 Masters Round 3 recap as we get into that final round, reaction and analysis as well. Don't forget, you can watch it as well. We got you all tapped on here at HQ all throughout the day. But also later on today, you got to watch that final round from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. streaming on CBS, also on Paramount Plus.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.